All right, guys, the highlights from GreatStockPicks.com live trading chat room on Thursday, December 13th. You may have seen we posted some charts last night. On StockTwits, JC Penney's was one of them. And these are 2-minute candles here. I liked the recent strength in this one. And, it jumped right out of the gate, and so I didn't want to chase it. But then it put in this little kind of, let me try that again, put in this little narrow base here between 1970 and 1960. And here was the high of day. This thing just looked coiled. Has a lot of shorts in it. Great relative strength yesterday, so it had all my attention this morning. It was my first call of the day. No, it wasn't actually. I'll talk about the other calls in a minute. But over 1970 was my long idea. I actually said 90. I typed into the chat. It's a little pop-up window that comes up. 1972, JCPenney 1972 trigger, 1960 stop. Thinking this little base break here would get us to light up the new highs ticker, and then my finally release this thing and let it give that short squeeze we've been looking for. All right, so there's the trigger. There's the high of day break. There's people finding it all of a sudden. It's lighting up the new highs ticker, and then it was off to the races. Look at this, and I'll switch out to fives, and I'll tell you, someone asked me, a newer member asked me today, well, how do you, I've seen you sell in parts, Mike. How do you know when to sell? My answer is always sell into shape. It's a fun, Kramer would say, high quality problem. Always sell into shape. What do I mean by that? I usually have 5-minute candles up here. This is shape right here. When you get 3 or 4 5-minute candles in a row, right? You sell some anywhere in here. You don't sell it all because it might do what JCPenney's did. It might keep going. So then again later, you get another pop through the high of the day. Another good place to sell, or this secondary. Anytime you get these candles shaping in your favor, if you will, you sell some. All right, and you make sure and protect your entry after that. And we always try to teach people to hold a few when you think you've got one. You know what I mean by you've got one. When you think you've got a runner, hold a few at least up until the close. And JCPenney's did close at the high of the day and may gap up tomorrow. But I did sell my last little bit right there at the end of the day, and it was almost at the high of the day. So anyway, JCPenney's, JCP absolutely made my day. I'll go over all the calls I made. I think I made 5 calls today. DKS, Dick's Sporting Goods, has been selling every day, and then gap down today. Now, in hindsight, I think somebody said it was because of the special dividend payment and all that. So that kind of stuff is messing with my trading brain. All these special dividends because taxes are going up after the first of the year. This is stuff as a trader I haven't had to try to wrap my head around. And I didn't really realize, that was the reason for the gap down today. So anyway, I called DKS over this little 3-minute base here, 45.50. And within a couple minutes, it's at 45.80. Always sell some, especially on a trade 3 minutes in, and it came back to my entry. I was back out. It did actually had a low of day stop on that. I'm not sure. Looking at it, I think it held the low of day stop all day. But once I heard the special dividend deal, I was less interested in it. Also, kind of the same setup in DRI, Darden Restaurants. Also had this chart on StockTwits last night. You can see the trend line I've drawn there using weekly candles, and it was coming down to that trend line. So this made it to bounce watch for me. Here's the daily, and it was kind of getting that, hold on. It was getting that shape we look for on daily candles down into the trend line. So I was looking for this for a bounce today, and went ahead and called it. Here's 5-minute candles. I'll zoom in for you. Went ahead and called it over the 10-minute high as a long low of day stop, which becomes 45.55. Worst case stop, 45.25, so about 30 cents risk, and it ended up, great relative strength to the market today. Ended up going to 46.10, 46.11, something like that. Again, not a huge move, but a nice trade. There was the trigger and the stop down here. Suppose you could have put the stop below this 5-minute candle. You need to know where you're going to put the stop before you take an entry, so you know how many to buy. But anyway, that worked too. What else did I call? So DKS, DRI, JCPenney's, FTNT was impressing me the way it is holding above 20. Here's the daily. The gap down, and it went down below 20, but it came back up, pushed back down. So once it got back up above 20, this becomes interesting to me. And I went ahead and called FTNT at 20.47 here. Again, another stock with relative strength to the market today. 20.47, basically over this little tight base. Worst case stop 20.40. So only 7 cents risk. And people say, well, why don't you post every trade on your results page? It's because of stuff like this. I don't mind talking about it in the video real quick, but 2047, it ended up going to 2065. Didn't even make 20 cents, but it also didn't stop out on 7 cents risk. I just don't want to fill the highlights page with stuff like that. And really, to be honest with you, it's time consuming. So I put the highlights up there, and I try to use the videos to talk about every call from the day. And I think my only other call from the whole day was Skyworks Solutions. When the market was selling off SWKS, I noticed this had that, what we call a PFPD look in chat, which stands for potential final push down. It's just grinding lower, and then all you get that shape change on volume. That's what an intraday bottom looks like. We call it a PFPD, potential final push down, because we don't know if it is the final push down. So you don't want to call it a final push down because it might keep going lower. Anyway, when you get this volume in this shape, plus taking out the whole number to the downside, sometimes you get what's called a wash and rinse, where they take out the stops below 21. I switched to 2-minute candles for the entry, called this over this. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. Called this over this 2-minute candle with a stop below it. So 2089, 2083 stop. 6 cents risk. There's the trigger. Never does revisit. I'll go out to 5s again. Never does revisit the low a day. So this really doesn't deserve to be on a highlight page, but it put money in all of our pockets. Again, it was only 6 cents risk. And from 2089, the highest it got was 2116. But again, an easy trade, money in our pocket. And that's it. That's the highlights from today. Again, not bad. All longs on a day where the SPY was grinding lower all day. You know, and again, we have to deal. Oh, by the way, no SMS pick again today because we have to deal with Boehner coming on and Democrats coming on. And I just, plus the SPY had that kind of shooting star or inverted hammer, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm expecting some selling. I mean, look at the move the SPY has made here. You know, over the past month or so, and then you had this toppy looking chart. So I'm expecting a day or two of selling on the SPY, and so very tough to make a call for the SMS list when you know, they're going to receive a text, and you know, I had a feeling the SPY might grind lower all day. So today was kind of a, you need to be there in real time, take advantage of a JCPenney's, but too hard to call something like that on a text call. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna quit babbling, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.